Hello everybody, this is TheXseption, and welcome to my team builder for week 1 of the NPA. This week, myself and the Tampa Luxrays will be taking on Kelly and the Maryland Torterrapins. So up above me, you'll see his team. He's got Landers T, Celebi, Rabombi, Alolan Persian, Golbat, Turtonator, Mega Heracross, Thundurus T, Vaporeon, Doublade, and Omastar. So a very scary team. I honestly think his team matches up very well against mine. It just so happens that the bottom 4 Pokemon there are the ones I am worried about most. The core that he has with Thundurus T and Vaporeon are going to be absolutely awful to deal with because Vaporeon gets Water Absorb and Thundurus T gets Volt Absorb. So anytime I go for an electric move with my Thundurus, he could very easily switch in his Thundurus to take a Volt Absorb and to absorb, that hit and gain some health back. And if I'm going for something with a water move with Kingdra there, maybe I go for a Waterfall or a Hydro Pump or anything. Maybe he switches in Vaporeon, and Vaporeon all of a sudden heals up a bit. So honestly, those 2 Pokemon there are just really going to be hard to get through, and I'm almost 100% sure he's bringing both Thundurus T and Vaporeon. I'd be surprised if he didn't bring one of them. I think they'll both be there for sure. The last 2 Pokemon there, I am worried about, but I am not that sure that they are coming. Doublade can be a very hard wall to get over. It's so strong. You kind of have to hit it specially. But even then, with Eviolite on, it can still take some hits. It's going to be hard to take out. So I'm going to have to deal with those, with some special counters, hopefully. Omastar is also a very scary Pokemon because if it sets up a Shell Smash in the rain, it will outspeed my whole team and be very, very strong. So it's going to be a hard thing to take out. And I have to be careful with the rain if he brings it. If he brings Omastar, then I basically have to be very careful with when I send out Pelipper, and also be careful with how I deal with this thing. I can't let it set up on me for free, so obviously I have to try to hit it. If it has a Focus Sash on, which is very possible and kind of likely, I would think, then I won't even be able to kill it in one hit, and it will probably kill me, and then I'll have to bring in maybe some priority to take it out. So Omastar could just be a really annoying thing to deal with. I don't think it's going to sweep me if I can help it, but that's something to worry about there. As for the rest of his Pokemon, I am not as worried about them. I think I have checks and counters to each of them, and we'll go over that as we go through this. But let's go ahead and jump into the team builder, which is my team. So the first Pokemon that I'm bringing, as I'm sure is a surprise to nobody, is going to be Pelipper. I took it in round 1 of the draft, and it's going to be on my team most weeks because it is the core of my rain team. In order for my team to function, most of the time I'm going to have to bring this Pokemon. It's got a Damp Rock, it's got Drizzle, of course, it's got Hurricane, Hydro Pump, U-Turn, and Defog. You can also see that it has a whole bunch of speed EVs. It's actually max speed, and that is to outspeed Mega Heracross. That is pretty much the only reason that this thing is speedy. And I built my EVs around just trying to beat Mega Heracross itself. So that's kind of the only point of Pelipper other than setting up the rain. I have Hydro Pump on there, I have U-Turn and Defog, but most of the time I'm not going to risk staying in and getting it damaged or taking more damage than it needs to, because I want to keep it alive so I can preserve the rain. So obviously I have to be very careful with it. So with these speed EVs and it being max speed, it can outspeed Adamant Mega Heracross. So I don't really have a way to test if he is Adamant Mega Heracross. So if the time comes where we are in the match and I have to, try to take it out somehow, maybe I can set up the rain one last time and try to go for a Hurricane to knock out Mega Heracross, because Hurricane should OHKO it. And that's kind of the plan for Pelipper. Other than that, though, it's just going to be going in and out. You know, I have U-turn on there for some momentum. If I get the chance where I think he might switch out, I can go for a U-turn and try to get some momentum. Have Defog. He has Doublade on his team, so he could possibly spin block me. I have Kabutops over there, and it does have Rapid Spin. So if he tries to spin block me, or if he has Doublade, I might just try to go for the Defog rather than a Rapid Spin. It just depends on how the game is looking, but I would prefer not to go for a Defog with Pelipper. It's just there just in case. Let's go ahead and hop into our second Pokemon, which is going to be Heracross. Now, Heracross here has a Choice Scarf, Moxie, Stone Edge, Knockoff, Earthquake, Close Combat. It is built to outspeed every non-Scarf Pokemon that he has, so it'll outspeed everything up to base 124, which is Ribombee, and it will take them. It will overtake them in speed, of course. Now, the only problem with that is Thunderous Tea, Alolan Persian, and Ribombee. If any of them have scarves, which I think Thundy is really the most likely thing to have a scarf, then it won't outspeed, obviously. But if none of them are scarfed, should be good to go with this thing. It has Stone Edge to hit Ribombee, Thundy, and Golbat. Knockoff for Doublade. Like I said, Doublade's going to be a huge issue. Getting rid of that Eviolite will be amazing if I can get rid of it. Close Combat is really just for stab and for some damage. Now, I know if I bring in Heracross, his switch-in is kind of probably going to be like Vaporeon or maybe like defensive Landorus if it has Intimidate. I don't really expect him to bring Landorus, to be honest, though, because I have so many water options and ice options on my team. So I don't really expect Landorus. But in any case, Close Combat is there for damage, and it'll even do like 30 to 40% on Vaporeon, depending on Vaporeon's EV spread and whatnot. So that's really just for damage. That's Mega Heracross there. Let's go ahead. I mean, that's regular Heracross. We are playing against Mega Heracross. So that's that. Let's move into our next Pokemon, which is Kabutops. Kabutops is running Air Balloon, Swift Swim. It has Stone Edge, Rapid Spin, Knockoff, and Aqua Jet. Now, the Air Balloon with Rapid Spin is there mostly for webs. I think Kelly has only a couple different ways that he can deal with my team. I have a very fast team when it's in the rain. And as you can see, I also have, Scarf Heracross, which is fast. Zoroark can be fast. On its own, Thundurus is fast, even without a Scarf. So he really only has a couple ways to deal with me, and that would be basically putting Choice Scarves on things or webs. And I think webs just works better for him, because then he doesn't have to worry about being locked into a move. And also, he wouldn't... he could just put a Choice Scarf on one Pokemon, but... that only allows one Pokemon to outspeed me, whereas if he got webs down, his whole team would outspeed me. So I think webs just makes more sense for him. So I'm bringing Air Balloon on Kabutops, so if I can set up the rain, bring in Kabutops, I can go for a Rapid Spin to get rid of the webs, and not be slowed down by them, basically, because of the Air Balloon. So that's kind of the plan there. Hopefully it works out. I have Stone Edge on it just for some stab. It's going to do a whole bunch of damage to Thundy, Ribombee, and Golbat, of course. I think it even knocks out Thundy and Ribombee. Golbat might be able to take one. It really probably depends on its spread. Golbat can be kind of bulky, if I remember correctly. I don't have the spreads in front of me or any of that. Knockoff, again, for Doublade. Doublade is just a huge problem for my team. I don't have a lot of ways to deal with it. I don't have like a fire Pokemon that can just take it out, and I'm not bringing Mega Swampert because I feel like Mega Swampert didn't fit into the team this week just versus his team. I feel like he had a lot of options for grass moves, HP grass, and just other ways to take out and deal with Mega Swampert. Scald, for example, from Vaporeon to Mega Swampert in the rain is still going to do a whole bunch of damage. So I just want to be careful with Mega Swampert, and I felt like it wasn't the week to bring it. So I'm not bringing it this week. Anyways, Knockoff is basically for Doublade, because that is going to be one of the main ways we have to deal with it, is just to knock off the Eviolite from Doublade with one of our multiple Pokemon with Knockoff, and hopefully we can find a way to deal with it. The Aqua Jet there is basically for priority. There's a few Pokemon in his team that are really scary. For example, Doublade. If Doublade were to set up on me, maybe it goes for, a Swords Dance while I go for, a Stone Edge or something. I guess I wouldn't go for a Stone Edge here, but you get my drift. If I go for something on Doublade and it sets up, it'll get a big hit off, and then it also gets Shadow Sneak, which means it's probably going to kill whatever Pokemon is out there. So if it kills it, I can go ahead and send in Kabutops. Kabutops can get a revenge kill with the Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet also does about 30% to Thunder T. So if Thundurus is in a range where I might be able to kill it, I might be able to bring in Kabutops and go for the Aqua Jet to knock it out, rather than have to set up Rain or have to hope that I hit a Stone Edge or something like that. So that's kind of the plan with Kabutops. It's mostly here for webs, but it does have some offensive capabilities. Moving on, we have Thundurus I. Thundurus I versus Thundurus T is just a terrible matchup. Like I said, Volt Absorb on his Thundurus is just a huge problem. I am running Expert Belt, Defiant Ability, Knockoff, Wild Charge, Hidden Power Ice, and U-Turn. I originally wanted to do a fully physical Thundurus, but because I'm running Defiant this week, but I really needed a move to hit Thunder T with, which I wouldn't have had if I didn't put HP Ice on here. So I also had to run like a minus defense nature in order to combat that and not have like a minus special attack. So that's kind of the plan there. I got Knockoff again for Doublade. It also is good for getting rid of like lefties on Vaporeon. Wild Charge or that Scarf on Thunder T. If I go for Knockoff while Vaporeon is in, maybe he switches into Thunder T expecting the electric move. And we get rid of that Scarf, which would be amazing. I got Wild Charge. Wild Charge actually 2 shots Vaporeon, no matter its investment. If it has a positive defense nature, max HP, max defense, Wild Charge with this set here actually 2-hit KOs it no matter what. I'm running an Expert Belt because I don't want him to know what kind of item I have. I was tempted to run Life Orb, but the Life Orb damage is always kind of annoying. And also, I want him to kind of think that I have a Z move on this. I want him to have to try to play around it. I'm kind of just trying to play mind games with that in mind. I also could have put lefties on here, but again, he would see the item, and that would be a problem. Hidden Power Ice has a chance to 2-shot Thunder T, depending on his set. I'm sure Kelly is going to build it, though, so it's not 2-shot by HP Ice. So I'm not super, invested in that working out there, but it is a possibility, and I'm running U-Turn because that Thunder T gets Volt Absorb, which means I can't freely Volt Switch on things. I have to go for the U-Turn. That way it's guaranteed to get off the switch out and get the momentum going. I'm running this speed so that I can outspeed non-Scarf Thunder T, of course. If he, for some reason, doesn't bring Scarf on Thundurus T, I will outspeed it, which will be pretty great. If he's not Scarf Thunder T though, I think we'll have a better time dealing with it, but we'll have to see. Now, one thing I want to mention is that I was planning on running a different set going into this week, but I thought it was a little too memeish, a little bit too out there to actually use. But what I was considering was running a Prankster roleplay set. The move roleplay copies your foe's ability. So if Thundurus I was in on Thundurus T, it could copy the Volt Absorb and take any electric hit from Thunder T, which would be like a Volt Switch, or maybe a Thunderbolt or Thunder or Electric Z move, something like that. I could take that hit and I would basically gain health from it, which would be amazing to do, except I would have to predict that very well, and I don't think Thunder T is going to be a big enough problem where I have to run like that, where I have to run, crap, I forgot what I was going to say there. Anyways, I thought it was too out there. I didn't want to run it. It also created a situation in my test matches where I had 50-50 shots on what I wanted to do, because I also was taking Water Absorb from Vaporeon, because when I had Roleplay, I could take Water Absorb from Vaporeon. Well, not take it, but copy it from Vaporeon, and then I would absorb the Scalds from it. But if Kelly were to switch into Thundurus T while I have Water Absorb, then Prankster is not going to be there, and he'll basically be able to hit my Thunderous with a big electric move before I'm able to roleplay and get Volt Absorb back. So it just creates a lot of 50-50 scenarios where I have to guess what Kelly might do. So I decided completely against that set. But it would have been fun to use, and it would have been interesting if I could have gotten it to work. Maybe you'll see it in future weeks. Who knows? If my opponent has some cool abilities, maybe I'll try to steal them. But anyways, we're just running with this set this week. Hopefully it works out for us. Another thing I wanted to mention with the Defiant ability, that is mainly, entirely for Alolan Persian. If I was running Rocks this week, it would also be for Defog. I don't run Rocks a lot, though. I probably should run them more, to be honest. But I'm not running Rocks this week. So if you were to go for Defog, it would raise Thunderous's attack by 2 stages. Since he's not going to, I really have to depend on Alolan Persian to go for Parting Shot. Parting Shot lowers both my attack and special attack 1 stage each, which basically gives me a net positive of +3 attack. So that could be pretty huge. That basically allows Thunderous to get a kill if it stays in on a Parting Shot from Alolan Persian, meaning I don't go for a U-turn. So if I stay in, he goes for Parting Shot, he gets switched out into whatever, I go to +3, and then I get a big hit off on whatever comes in. The only problem with that is after I get a kill or do a whole bunch of damage to whatever, he can basically bring in Alolan Persian and threaten me out because Persian will outspeed. It gets foul play, which means it's going to one-shot me at +3 anyway and knock me out. So that's kind of what the plan is just to play around that. Now, my 5th Pokemon is Kingdra. Kingdra was something I was basically planning to bring this whole week. It's just very good in this matchup here. I'm pretty sure Kelly's going to be expecting a bit of a different set, though. I'm bringing Dragonium Z, Dragon Dance, Substitute, Waterfall, and Outrage. That Dragonium Z is for the Outrage, by the way, not for the Dragon Dance. Although I guess it could be. I don't know what Z Dragon Dance does, though. Maybe I should look into that one day. But I am running a Max Attack Adamant Kingdra with Dragon Dance and Substitute and all that good stuff. When I was doing my test matches, and I do a ton of test matches every week versus my AC. You know, he builds a team and then I build a team, and we get together and just see if the sets that I built can work out. And if they don't, we tweak them a little bit and go from there. But I found that he was able to wall me out with Vaporeon a lot if I was running a special Kingdra, because basically I would go for a Draco Meteor, get it off, you know, Vaporeon would take 60%, but then the next Draco doesn't kill. So he could just wish up on me for free, basically, and wall me out. Or go for Toxic, and then, you know, just wait, Timer Stall me until I'm dead. Well, not Timer Stall, but Toxic Stall me until I'm dead. So that was a big problem. And the way I decided to deal with that was Substitute Dragon Dance. Scald was also an issue. I don't want this thing to get burned and just get whittled down. So basically the plan is to get in on Vaporeon with this somehow. Set up a Substitute. That way if he goes for Toxic or Scald, it doesn't do anything. Toxic will just do nothing, and Scald is not powerful enough to break the sub even if he's max special attack with a modest nature, for instance. Kingdra can take that. So it'll then set up a Dragon Dance, and if he stays in on that first Dragon Dance, we are looking really good. If he doesn't, which I really don't expect him to do, then we're still doing okay. We can still pull out a good few clean kills, hopefully. And at +2 Dragon Dances, it'll outspeed Scarf, Thunderous T outside of Rain. With +3 Dragon Dances, it'll outspeed Scarf Persian outside of Rain. I wasn't really worried about Scarf Persian, by the way. I just figured this out because I was thinking he might be able to run like a Scarf Persian set with like Switcheroo or Trick or whatever it gets there. So, you know, it was in the back of my head that he might bring something like that just to mess with me, because I know I think about doing that to people quite often, in fact. And I don't think it's ever been done to me, but I'm sure my just desserts is coming. The sub, so like I said, the sub is basically for burn or poison. I have Waterfall for Landorus and Ribombee. Ribombee's the only Pokemon that's not going to be hit hard by that Outrage. That Outrage is going to decimate his team. Even Alolan Persian doesn't want to take a +1 or +2 Outrage from this. The only problem with going for Outrage on like Alolan Persian is that it's going to take 2 to 3 hits to knock out. And in that time, I will be locked into Outrage, so I won't be able to switch. If he breaks through my sub, which he probably will with Foul Play, then he'll be able to get a big hit off on me, which would be problematic. Which is kind of where Dragonium Z comes in. The plan is +1 or +2, if I can, on Vaporeon. He brings in like a Alolan Persian on me, trying to basically wall me out. And he's going to bring that in because he knows Alolan Persian is going to be able to go for a Foul Play. It's going to break the sub, and he'll also be able to take a hit. But he can't take a hit if I go for the Dragonium Z, because a +1 Dragonium Z Outrage, Devastating Drake, will kill Alolan Persian, which would be amazing. We take that out and go from there. Outrage, I would probably hit Outrage after that, unless he brought in Ribombee. If he brings in Ribombee, I can hit Waterfall because I would outspeed him at that point, hopefully, and knock out Ribombee. If he went into anything else, I hit Outrage. It does a lot of damage. It might not kill something if I'm only at +1. If he brings in Ribombee on one of my Outrages, it'll cancel out the Outrage. I won't be locked in anymore, and it'll basically reset that, so I don't have to worry about confusion. I'm kind of hoping I'm able to, set him on tilt a little bit so that he does something like that, because it's very easy to forget in the moment that sending in a Fairy type on an Outrage will just cancel out the Outrage completely. So I'm kind of hoping he does that, and then it resets my Outrage, and I can go for it again and not have to worry about, being confused and hurting myself in confusion and all that bothersome stuff. and whatnot. Now, I don't think Kingdra is going to be able to sweep, unfortunately. I originally was running Lumberry on this so that I could, break out of confusion, and it would have a little bit better chance of like sweeping more of his Pokemon if I was running Lumberry. The problem with Lumberry, though, is that if I'm in a dire circumstance, maybe towards the end of the match, where I have to bring this in on Vaporeon on a Scald or possible Toxic, the Lumberry could go off anyway, and then I'm going to kill even less Pokemon than if I had the Lumberry. Than if I had this over the Lumberry, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the plan with Kingdra. I think this set is going to be the one that sets him on tilt the most, hopefully. I didn't want to be too, out there with the sets this week. I kind of wanted to go a little bit try hard, and I feel like this set accomplishes that. It's a very serious set, but it's also kind of fun and not something he would expect. So that's the plan with Kingdra. The last Pokemon is Zoroark. I'm running Choice Band. It's got the Illusion ability, of course. It's got U-Turn, Knockoff, Sucker Punch, and Aerial Ace. The Choice Band is for basically extra damage with Sucker Punch. U-Turn for Momentum, Aerial Ace for Heracross, Ribombee, Celebi, and Landorus. Knockoff, basically for Doublade. I considered running a Choice Scarf on this, but it just wasn't worth it. That extra damage from Sucker Punch was what I really needed, because it'll actually do about 60% to Thundurus T. If he is Scarf Thundurus T, maybe I get an HP Ice off on it, and then I'm able to bring in Zoroark and just kill it with a Sucker Punch. That would be pretty great. That Sucker Punch also does about 30% to Ribombee, so if I can get off a big hit on Ribombee, I can bring this thing in to finish it off. The Aerial Ace is basically if I'm able to catch a Pokemon, on surprise. I'll definitely outspeed Mega Heracross with this. Go for Aerial Ace and just hit something for a lot of damage. Especially if he tries to bring in Celebi just to avoid the hit or to take a hit from something else. Maybe he thinks I'm a Kingdra, or he thinks I'm Heracross, or whatever, maybe he switches in a Pokemon that takes a big hit from Aerial Ace. And then also, what else? U-Turn is for Momentum, because of course, if he thinks I am a different Pokemon, he's going to want to switch out and go into, basically his dedicated wall for that Pokemon. So that's kind of the plan with the team this week. I know it's a little bit strange, probably not what you guys were expecting, but I'm hoping to have a lot of fun with it. Hopefully we can pull out a nice win week 1. Kelly is probably going to be one of our toughest opponents of the season, but hopefully we can shake off that rust from not having played Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon very much and get back into the swing of things here. We'll have to see. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the team builder, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the battle. It goes live at 1 o'clock, so keep an eye out for that. I'll see you there. Peace out.